See, I think yesterday we have covered social institutions. Those who missed, most of you have taken the recording session, and some of you might have not completed it yet. So even if you have not completed, don't worry. You take the classes regularly, the live classes, and whatever the pending things are there, that we can do it in the recorded mode as well. And when you get any doubt, I'm always available. You just ask me, I'll clear your doubts. Okay. So now I'll quickly share the screen and go to this mode where say in socio-cultural anthropology we have covered 2.1, which is all about culture, where we understood what is culture, what are the various aspects of culture. We understood the characteristics, functions, and what is civilization, how culture and civilization are linked. Then we have seen ethnocentrism and cultural relativism. That completed that 2.1. Then we began 2.2, which is society. We understood the concept of society, the definition. Then we have seen how society and culture are interlinked. Then we have seen social institutions. Okay, I think this is what we have completed in the last class. So quickly, one of you give me confirmation. Social institutions, we have discussed concept, types, and characteristics plus functions. So this is what we have done in the last class, right? Just give me confirmation.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, after completion of the social institution, as per our syllabus, only two topics are left here. One is social groups, another one is social stratification. So here we will be focusing much on social groups, and social stratification. We'll understand the concept, but much of social stratification, social mobility, everything we will understand under paper number 2, unit number 3.2. If you have syllabus, you just open it and see paper number 2, unit number 3.2 is caste and caste system in India. So caste system is a classical example of social stratification. So there I will link the concept of social mobility, the causes behind social mobility, how mobility happens, what are the different types of social mobility and everything. Okay, so with that we can end up this 2.2. We can enter into 2.3, which is marriage topic. Okay, so first let us complete this. Please put the subheading. The subheading is social groups. Social groups. So we will strictly go by the syllabus of UPSC. We'll understand from the exam point of view as well as conceptual point of view. Okay, so social groups. See, what is a group? What do we define a group? When do we call something as a group? Tell me. You must be part of so many groups, social media groups, Telegram, WhatsApp groups, or maybe recreational groups. Just tell me what you
Sir,
understand by group. Hmm.
number number of people gathered or
Okay.
centered.
Number of people. Like you are saying that. Sorry guys, I'm having cold. If there is a collection of two or more people, we can call it as a group. Then society also we are calling it as collection of the people, group of people. Even institution we are calling it as group of people. Then how can we distinguish institution and social group? The answer is very simple. Social institutions are also groups, or you can say collection of people, but social institutions have a set of rules or regulations. There is a formal framework. But in case of social groups, they are more like informal, personal, where we share experiences, we build the bonds, we do the interactions. So that's the main difference which distinguishes a social group from the social institution. So again, we will go with the simple and general definition and one anthropologist or scholarly definition. Then we will look at the different categories of the social groups, primary groups and secondary groups. Then same, what are the functions of the social groups and everything. Okay, so please write social groups is the subheading, and please write it is collection of individuals in which collection of individuals in which collection of individuals in which social interactions, this is very important, without interactions we do not call it as a social group. Social interactions, underline the word social interactions. Social interactions takes place. So in simple sense, social group is a collection of individuals within which some social interactions are taking place. Now these interactions may be direct, like face to face or physical interactions, or they can be virtual interactions. It doesn't matter, as long as there are interactions, that collection of individuals can be called as a social group. It can be your WhatsApp group where certain activities are being updated, that is also a group. Virtual interactions are happening, you are a social group there. Or it can be your neighborhood, even your family is a social group. In fact, that is the primary social group where you have first hand contact, first hand interactions, and there is a regular interactions. Okay, so on the basis of it we classify these social groups into different categories. But before going into the categorization, let us see what are the requirements of a social group. So three main requirements, if we are to say, there are three main requirements. Okay, first requirement is at least there should be more than one person. So you cannot say I alone is a person and I alone is a group. Can I be called as a social interaction, social group, because I interact with myself? No, minimum two members should be there. So the first and basic requirement is the people, and it should be more than one individual should be there. One individual. Can we call two persons a social group? Yes. So two persons who are interacting can be called as a social group. So this is the first. Then second requirement is, say, simply having members in the group, a collection of the members doesn't make it a social group. What it makes, if there are social interactions, they need to have some sort of interactions among themselves. Then the third requirement is this social group should have some purpose or utility. Say you must have joined some telegram groups. Now a telegram group can be called as a social group because there might be more than one individual in that group, plus they might be interacting, like some content they are putting and you are looking at the content, you are downloading them, you are like giving responses and all, and the purpose is maybe your preparation, maybe related to your some activities. So there is a purpose for that particular group. So if these three requirements are being satisfied, then you can call that collection of individual as a social group. Okay, so please write, let's go with one scholarly definition. Please make this diagram as it is, you mention it, and please write at the bottom, according to Anderson and Parker. Anderson and Parker, a social group is, we are looking at the scholarly definition. A social group is a unit of two or more people two or more people meeting in the same environment, meeting in the same environment, or overcoming the distance, overcoming the distance by some means of communication, communication who are influencing each other, influencing who are influencing each other psychologically. So this is the definition given by Anderson and Parker. You can take this definition as the scholarly definition. Simple, look at this, whether all the points are being satisfied or not. So saying two or more people, that means more than one individual is present, and saying that meeting in the same environment. See, this meeting is the interactions. Like maybe they are meeting for talking or some activities or so. So same environment, it doesn't mean same place. And even if they are like having a distance, then they will find some means of communication to overcome the distance. For example, now we are sitting here, we are taking this class, and this class is being taken by people from different locations, maybe Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Lucknow, Kolkata, or let's say Ladakh. So different, even Andaman. So people are there from different locations. So we found a medium of communication. Let's say this digital era. Through this, we found this medium, and we are able to communicate and interact. So we can be called, this class can be called as a social group, because we have a purpose. The purpose is to learn here. Okay, and we are more than one individuals who are interacting is, I'm teaching something to you, you are teaching something to me, you are telling something, I'm telling something. So interactions are happening, you are writing the notes. So you can call this as a social group. So this is the simple scholarly definition. Now, what are the different classifications of these social groups? See, if we look at the classification, see, each of these social group can be divided into two categories, either primary social groups or secondary social groups. So let us look at the classification. Okay, so classification, subheading, classification of social groups. Now, social groups based on the level of interactions can be classified into two types. One is primary social groups. I'm going to write SD for social groups, you can write full form. And secondary social groups. Like in case of institutions, we have seen primary institutions and secondary institutions. Okay, but there, primary institutions, we said the institutions which are basic and found in all the societies, universal, they are called as the primary institutions. And secondary institutions are the one which are not universal in all societies. That is what we have seen as a definition. But when it comes to social groups, the definition is slightly different. For example, what are primary social groups? See, primary social groups are the social groups where the interactions are direct. So you have direct interactions, and they are personal. Like sometimes personal matters are also discussed, personal interactions, maybe familial, or you can say blood based, blood related people are involved in there. And it also have experiences, like they share their experiences, plus they will be informal in nature. Like आपका दोस्त का एक ग्रुप बना हुआ है, एंड वेयर यू गाइस आर इंटरेक्टिंग ऑन ए डे बेसिस, एंड फिजिकली मिल रहे हो, जाकर कुछ जगह पे घूम फिर रहे हो, खाना खा रहे हो या कुछ ऐसे है, और आप अपना पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंसेस वगैरह शेयर कर रहे हो, और इतना फॉर्मल नहीं, इनफॉर्मल लेवल पे भी जाकर बात कर रहे हो. सो दैट बिकम्स ए प्राइमरी ग्रुप. Whereas, see, right now, the classroom can be an example of secondary group. क्यों? Because here, see, Though we are a social group, but the interactions are not direct, at least not all with all of you. Some people who are staying in the study community, I have a direct contact with them. But the people from, let's say, different locations, I do not have the direct interaction. Maybe at max I can call them, I can have these virtual meetings. So these are the kind of interactions I'm having. So if the interactions are indirect or virtual interactions, okay, plus it is not personal, like all the things that we discuss are not personal. देखो, sometimes you also might be like, if you wanted to discuss personal, you would say sir or ma'am or friend or आपका फैमिली मेंबर हो सकता है, पर्सनल बातें डिस्कस करने के लिए कुछ अलग एनवायरनमेंट होता है. सो सेकेंडरी ग्रुप्स में पर्सनल चीजें नहीं डिस्कस किया जाता है. प्लस एंड हियर इट इज मोर लाइक ए फॉर्मल वन. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आपका टेलीग्राम ग्रुप में ही हूँ, आप कोई टेलीग्राम ग्रुप में हो या कोई स्टडी ग्रुप में हो, तो वहां पर क्या करते हो, यू आर देयर बिकॉज देर इज अ पर्पस दैट यू वांटेड टू हैव सम कंटेंट, यू वांटेड टू लर्न समथिंग. अब कई बार देखो वहां पर जो भी, मतलब टेलीग्राम पे अगर कोई और उस ग्रुप का मेंबर जो है आपको पर्सनली मैसेज करना चाहते हैं, तो यू वोंट अलो इट, यू माइट हैव पुट सम प्राइवेसी सेटिंग्स और नो समथिंग, सो दैट देर इज नो पर्सनल इंटरेक्शन. प्लस एक और है, even if you are responding in that group, the responses are most of the cases is formal. अब देखो क्लासरूम एनवायरनमेंट में we cannot be talking in the informal manner, there will be formal manner. So if a group is formal, non-personal, and the interactions in that social group are virtual or indirect, we call that group as a secondary group. So this is how we classify it. So if we talk about examples, see, these are all the characteristics of it. And if we talk about the example, see, the best example for the primary group is family, with which we will be having direct interactions and personal चीज़ें भी डिस्कस करते हैं, इनफॉर्मल भी होते हैं, वो अपना एक्सपीरियंसेस हमें बताते हैं, हम अपना एक्सपीरियंसेस उनको बताते हैं. और इट कुड बी योर फ्रेंड्स सर्किल, द क्लोजेस्ट फ्रेंड्स, और इट कुड बी योर नेबरहुड. ठीक है, नेबरहुड. All these things can be given as an example of the primary social groups. Now when it comes to secondary social groups, it can be an organization. कोई भी एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन पे आप काम कर रहे हो, उस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का सारे लोग जो है एम्प्लॉइज वगैरह, they might be called as a social group because they interact, but the interactions are most of the cases formal in nature. Or it could be any study group or educational group or anything like the WhatsApp group that you are having, social group that you are having, they can be given as an example. Okay, so these are all some of the examples of secondary groups. Okay, so please write it now. Who understood the concept, please write it. Classification of social groups, please write. Social groups are primarily classified into two types: primary social groups, secondary social group. Social groups are mainly categorized into two types. Number one, primary. Number two, secondary social group. First, put the subheading primary social group. And please write. These social groups are excuse me guys. These social groups are personal, and have direct interactions which are informal and people share their experiences. People share their experiences. See, one more characteristic of this primary group is it is limited number. It has limited numbers. If you talk about family, no. So you will be having a limited number, maybe 4 members, 5 members, maximum 10, 15, not more than that. But if you are talking about a secondary group, there is no limitation. Do we have a limitation that only these many students can join in a study group? No. You can see as many as 1 lakh people are also part of a study group. ठीक है, so ऐसे हो सकता है. ठीक है, done. So it is limited, it is not limited. So this is another characteristic. Example लिख लीजिए. Examples: family, friends, neighborhood, etc. Next, second सबहेडिंग लिख लीजिए, secondary social groups. Secondary social groups. Secondary में लिख लीजिए the social groups in which relations are formal. See, formal relations are there. Relations are formal, comma. Interactions are indirect or virtual. Interactions are indirect or virtual. Comma. They are like their nature. They are impersonal or non-personal, you can write. They are impersonal, comma, segmental and utilitarian. Utilitarian का मतलब है कि कुछ ना कुछ यूटिलिटी हो. That's the reason why you are part of that group. Otherwise, you don't want to be part of that group. So there might be some utility for you. For example, I've given Telegram group as the example because nowadays most of you might have joined. So why you are part of that Telegram group? Because you are getting some utility out of it. Otherwise, you have no interest in it. Plus, they are segmental. For example, in Telegram also, you are related to UPSC aspirant. So you have a UPSC group. Similarly, suppose say you are giving a state PCS, there might be a state PCS group, you might have been a member of that. Or there might be some, like let's say you have hobby of cooking, there might be a cooking channel, so you might be part of that. So all these are segmental based on the interest of the members. Okay, so utilitarian, full stop. Utilitarian are called secondary social groups. Secondary social groups. Example: study groups, an organization, say some sort of clubs etc. जो है उनको भी आप रख सकते हो as a example of secondary group. Done. So this is classification of social groups. Now say what is the function of the social groups? So we have seen like they have utilitarian function, they also cohesive the people, they help in sharing the experiences. Sometimes they also unite the people because like-minded people जो है वो एक साथ जुड़ते हैं, वो आपस में interactions increase करते हैं. When there is increasing in the interactions, that will cohese the people. So these are all the functions of it. Now with that, social groups in your syllabus is also done.